Hello, I'm Robin Boyce for City Corner. Join us for this episode as we talk to Media Divas. Hi, I'm Robin Boyce for City Corner. Welcome back. And in the studios with me right now is Miss Sheila Reed, the voice of St. Louis radio and jazz, that great music that we all love to listen to. Also with us from television, Miss Charlotte Ottley, who's done a lot of wonderful things here in the St. Louis area that she's going to talk with us about, and she's got some great things on the horizon as well. And Miss Sheila Banks, a queen of TV, back in the day, anchor, just the lady just put the buzz on the place back in the day, and we just loved her. So I want to thank you so much, ladies, for coming in and just sitting down and talking with us about what you're doing right now, what's happening in your futures, what do you see going on in St. Louis, kind of talk about what's happened since we've all been on the air together. Thank you so much, ladies. It's so good to see all of you. This is great. I want to start out with you, Miss Sheila Banks. How are you doing, Miss Diva? Looking so sharp. Loving it.
Oh, okay, let me tell you that you should have started with you. We did not
That's
include
right.
Robin talking about
you.
St. Louis.
Our baby.
Divas.
Oh.
Yeah, our baby. Exactly.
Thank you so much. How are you doing?
I'm well. It's funny hearing yourself described as, back in the day.
Yeah.
We talking way back.
Oh,
in
no,
the day.
wasn't-
Is that like a
wasn't that
synonym
far
for
back.
like
You
the
were,
old
but
word?
see, you were like #1 for KTVI for years, Channel 2.
557 years
You
ago?
did, oh, sister, you
Yeah.
did an awesome job for that
Thank
television
you.
station. You anchored along with Don Marsh and
Yeah.
several other anchors, and wow, that was a really good run for you.
Thank you. That was a minute, and then I moved on, of course, to BET, where
Yes,
I
you
was
did.
for years.
Yeah.
That's where I spent most of my years, and the public television station in DC.
I missed you by a minute with BET when I moved to Los Angeles. Then you had just left to go do some other things. Yeah.
Yes, I left to go to corporate America, but now I'm kind of
Yes.
scooting back into it and have morphed into an author, which is something that I
think
wanted
that's
to
great.
do
Your book,
since I was
Bittersweet.
since
Yes.
I was 3 years old.
I love it.
You just do things that you want, and it took me a little while, but I did that.
This was something you wanted to always do, the book, Bittersweet.
Yeah, since I was about 3.
Great.
Yeah,
Great.
so that was 150 years ago. And pushing the screenplay, written the screenplay version.
Wow.
And
Really? For this book?
This book is
Really?
being shot as we speak.
Tell us briefly about the book. Just a little brief, because we want people to pick it up and order it.
It's historical fiction. The beautiful cover on, beautiful picture on the cover is my mom.
Wow.
So
Okay.
this is my tribute to her. In fact, the book was released on her birthday 3 years ago.
Wow. Wow.
So, tribute to Mama. It's based on stories told to me by my mother's oldest half sister, who would be like almost 100 now.
Okay.
About another half sister who would be well into her hundreds.
Wow.
And the stories to me were so amazing. I always knew I wanted to capture them, which is what I did. Fictionalized it. So.
But see, this is really
yeah.
okay. So you fictionalize it, so you could do like a screenplay, or movies about. Are they about St. Louis, growing up in St. Louis, their experience here?
Well, this is not about St. Louis. This starts in my family's roots begin in Louisiana.
Gotcha.
And it's from Louisiana to
Yes.
Oklahoma, then
Yes.
to Los Angeles, although there is a St. Louis segment in it.
Okay.
But it takes place from 1919 to 1965.
How
So
exciting.
it is historical fiction with a lot of black history facts in it that
Very good.
some people don't know.
Very good. Very
Actually, that
good.
a lot of people don't know.
That's really good. So you had a lot of fun putting this together and everything, and
I enjoyed it.
Good.
It was a labor of love.
very good, very good. We're going to get back to what you're doing now. You're doing some really exciting new things. Miss Charlotte Ottley,
Yes,
how are you, darling?
I am wonderful.
Miss
Thank
Charlotte, I have to say, I was a little intern when I first met you. you were with KMOX television at the time. In fact, did you take over, and this is going to really date me, Parker Wheatley?
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay, because I worked a little bit for him too. He was an
Right.
interesting guy. I learned a lot.
Right.
You all were the community affairs people for
Right.
television.
Right.
And
Well, Ali Raman came in
Yes,
between the, because
that's
remember, I
right.
started on the producer side.
yes, yes, yes. So when I met you, you were working as the community affairs director at that
Yes.
time. And I have to tell you, you were the kindest boss I've ever had since and forever. No, I'm sorry. But you are. I mean, really, you really showed you cared for me and my growth. And I was just a little intern from Forest Park Community College. And
Robin, I don't think there's ever been a time that you've just been a little anything. Your personality, your spirit, your passion has always been up front and centered, and I admire you for that.
thank you. Thank you. And I appreciate you. No, I have to say that. I appreciate you because you didn't have these intimidations that you run into in the business. And it was just great learning from you, gleaning. You made it easy.
See,
Made
it
really
paid
easy.
off.
It
Now,
did. It did.
nobody knows me, and look,
Oh,
you brought me to the
please.
forefront. I mean,
Really, but you did some great shows down there for a long time. You mentored a lot of good people that have moved on and done some good things. But then you had an opportunity to go to New York City.
yes.
What did you do
Yes.
there?
Well, you know, it's so interesting because my path has not always been the path I chose. I went to New York. I had a very successful career at Channel 4. I
Yes,
was
you
a
did.
department head, at the time the only African American at the round table. And I produced a show and I hosted a show. And I had a very successful business nationally.
You did.
So I only went to New York to visit, because at the time I was the national president of the National Broadcast Association.
That's okay.
So I went to New York to meet Percy Sutton,
yes.
who owned the Apollo, and to meet one of my
And
members.
several radio stations too.
Oh yeah, and meet my member. And I went in to do a courtesy visit, and they said, you ought to be in New York. And I don't know how many people, everybody was saying, you ought to be in New York, you ought to be in New York. And they offered me a job. And I wish I could remember my face, because when she told me the salary, she thought I wasn't happy. I was shocked. And she went up another 20 grand.
No.
And even with that, because I am so adamant about following my spirit,
Yes.
that I waited 8 weeks to make a decision. I would
Really?
talk to a tree if it would talk back. 8 weeks. I had
Well,
to
you had so
figure
many
out,
ties here at the time.
was it, well, I was doing fine. So was it a
Yeah.
temptation or a blessing?
Yeah.
Was I just being greedy and running from what I already had? But it turned out to be the best decision I made. I love New York, and New York loved me back.
Well, I know for a
And it
long
was
time, yeah.
wonderful.
You were
It
you
was
were
wonderful.
flying back and forth, and you also took the time out to write a book called Surviving Success.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, that came many years later,
Yeah.
after my mom took sick.
Yes.
After I had to make another choice of to stay in New York and keep sending money back the way I had done with my dad, which I always regretted. And between my mother and Catherine Dunham and the doors
Yes.
closing in New York, I made the decision to give all my things away, come back here with 80 boxes. And I realized that it wasn't just me. People in our age group were in transition.
Yes.
And when you've been center stage with applause, 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 and all of a sudden it had stopped, there's a sense that you question your worthiness. So this is what made me write this book, that what got you there, you still have.
Wow.
You've just got to make some choices through those challenges.
Wow. Because it is totally different
Oh,
now
it's
compared
different.
to.
But we have to adjust and understand that we get different kinds of aha moments
yeah.
now.
Yeah, it's a look just like getting older and arthritis kicking in.
Oh, see, now, I wasn't talking about
No,
that.
I am, because it's kicked in, and I'm going, okay, what am I going to do with this one? All right.
No.
So, but yeah,
Yeah.
it comes to a point where you have to make some decisions, clear-cut decisions, and it's all about the positive.
Well,
movement,
remembering that
moving-
your goal. You
Yes.
were born with something that doesn't diminish in value.
Absolutely.
It's your
Yeah,
choice.
and I like that. See, I need to talk to you every
And a
day.
day at a time.
that is just wonderful. This book is great. I
It's a
look forward
head
to-
boggler. You know,
It-
it's like once you've been successful, when you read it, You're doing,
Okay.
yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that does
Okay,
happen. And it's some
okay.
personal stories.
And I understand
About
you can
some
use
of
this for
these.
workshops to help people out.
Oh,
and everything.
definitely.
Okay.
I've written a couple of handbooks on
Okay.
professional and personal success because they're one in the same.
Wow.
So, no, I've been a teacher. Remember, that's how I started. I was a university instructor.
Right.
So
right.
that education, that entrepreneur,
That's always
that
been
media executive has always been one with me.
And which is an awesome thing, and you've taken it all the way through your career, so beautifully.
All the way through my life.
You had, well, you really had.
No, I was raised as an entrepreneur.
Yes, you were.
go.
Yes, you were. Yes, you were in East St. Louis, Illinois.
East St. Louis,
Yes,
Illinois.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You've also done a
Yes.
beautiful book concerning East St. Louisans that are unknown to people, and
Those are unknown, very well-known
Well-known.
international people.
I know these folks though. I mean, a lot of
I have
folks
to look
don't
at
know
it.
them. Yeah, but
Yeah.
we've got so many folks coming out of East St. Louis that have done some great things that people just
Phenomenal.
don't really know about. You know, and we're going to get back to this and talk more about what you've written here. But Miss Sheila Reed, the voice,
That's what they call me.
sister, really?
The voice.
No, you were on
It's a
air and
gift.
radio. I remember when I was at KDZ and
Yes.
Z100 and all that, and you came in and you did a jazz show.
Yes.
And weren't you flying then? You
Yes.
were flying for TWA,
Listen,
correct?
Exactly.
This girl would fly, then come back on in here and do a show
Now, let me-
that was awesome.
Yeah, let me correct you. Most people thought that because I worked for the airline that I was a flight attendant.
Yeah.
But I was never
That's what I thought.
a flight
yeah.
attendant.
Yeah, okay, tell
Never.
us the story,
I
correct us
worked
all.
for TWA. It's amazing how I even juggled everything.
That's what
Sometimes
everybody-
I wonder,
yeah.
how did I do this? But I actually started with TWA January 1974, which was my graduation year from high school.
Okay.
My senior year of high school was my first year of college. You know how you accrue the
Right,
credits and you go on. Now, I was offered the job at TWA. I took the job. I was still in school. So when I got the job at KTZ,
Yeah.
which came later
Right.
in 1983,
Yeah, I remember her.
I was still working for the airline, and I started working for TWA, and KTZ. That's who. Actually, I started with KBDY. Do you remember KBDY?
Oh, my goodness.
Hank Thompson, Bob Salter,
Wow.
the old Scotty Lawrence.
Bob Salter. Wow.
Yes.
Bob Salter.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Wow.
well, we called him Scotty Lawrence, Bob Salter, Lawrence
Scotty
Salter,
Lawrence.
right?
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
from back in the day. So anyway,
Woo, flashbacks.
yeah, I would
Okay.
do. They said, "Hey, we got to have you." So I started working with them, which of course was jazz, all genres of jazz. And then KATZ heard me on the radio there,
Okay.
and they said, "Oh no, we got to have her."
Exactly.
So I worked for both companies at the same time, believe it or not.
That was great.
Amazing.
So you weren't flying around and coming back because everybody was under the impression
Right.
that you
No.
were flying out.
No,
and
I
coming
wasn't.
back to do the show.
Kind of like the fly talk, but no, that was not the case. I
That was
actually
great.
worked in St. Louis in a number of positions with TWA,
Yes,
which of
yes.
course later was bought out by American
Yes,
Airlines.
yes, remember that.
And I worked throughout my radio career
Mm-hmm.
from 1983 to,
she was smart. She kept her job, a real job.
hey, you know how the business is.
No.
We
Do
were,
I know
was
how the business is?
ostracized. You know what I'm
Do
saying?
I know how the business is?
Really?
I'll
Yeah,
tell you a
all
story
of us,
about
all
that.
the real pros in the business that were on the
honey,
radio.
Lord,
were
I
gone.
can tell you some story. I can tell you. So we're going to come right back and we're going to talk more about those
Okay.
radio and television stories.
Sounds
And it's just so great to have you ladies here in the
Thank you.
studios. But
Glad
we
to be
will
here.
be right back.
Kids will spend 15 minutes watching online videos like this one.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes twice a day. They have the time.
When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. saving energy saves you money. Learn more at energysavers.gov.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course.
Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
Over 13 million people are affected by famine, war, and drought in the Horn of Africa.
Make a simple text donation of $10.
But do more than donate. Forward the facts.
Hi, I'm Robin Boyce, and welcome back to City Corner. And I'm in the studio with the Divas and Media of St. Louis, Missouri. I'm really appreciating you ladies coming. Miss Sheila Reed, Miss Charlotte Ottley, Miss Sheila Banks. My girls are here today, okay? And we're going to have some more fun. And I hope everybody's
Yes,
enjoying the
you
show. I'm
are.
loving this power that we have here of the support that I really, really wish that we could have more of
Right.
among the folks in the media, where we just really support each other.
We don't even know how we've touched each other's lives.
Yeah.
Sheila didn't know that necessarily we had mutual friends. I mean, when she was really hot at BET, I've always been the one that wanted to be in the executive room and be behind the scenes pushing everyone out. Even though I've been on TV and radio and published some magazines, etc., I like the purpose cause side. And people like Sheila was always up front. She'd be in D.C., she'd be in New York, and my name would come up.
I know, it's great.
And she
Everyone-
was worse than you, Robin. She was worse than you. And of course, that would come back, and what did that do? That validated me.
Yes.
And I think we can't take that for granted. We haven't been together like this ever. And we cut to the chase. The moment we walked into your lobby, it was a commonality. And I
Yes.
think that somehow we've gotten away from the personal touch. Because at the end of the day, it's the relationship that matters.
It's all about the relationship.
It's
that
all
matters.
about the relationship.
Yes.
And we may call it other things, but at the end of the day, it's the person who can validate who you are and the things that you've done that validate your commitment and your
And
passion.
you need to do that for people,
You have
don't
to.
you? When you have birthday parties,
right.
when you have anniversary parties, or when you have get-togethers. There was one that was done recently, I would say maybe 2 years ago, something that the St. Louis Sentinel newspaper did along with Bernie Hayes
Oh, my.
and right.
Oh,
yeah,
that was
yes,
Jim
that
Gates.
night.
Weren't
that
you
I
there
was
that
part of
night?
that, of course.
Yes,
Jim
you were
Gates came
there.
out. I mean,
Received an award.
everybody
All
was
of
there.
these African Americans from radio with it. I was like,
That's right.
wow.
amazing.
I hadn't seen folks in
That was
forever.
real history.
Yes,
That
it
was
was.
real history.
It was so good to see folks come together and just talk. And you're right. We need to come back together and just encourage and push folks and talk more about what we're doing and what our plans are, you know.
But Robin,
It's
what the
nurturing.
richness
Yes.
is, I hadn't talked to you in 15, 20 years.
Right.
And it was like, cut to the chase.
I mean, no, that was no. Tell the story now. Tell the story now. We're coming into City Hall, okay? I'm walking into City Hall, getting out of the parking lot, going to work. You're on your way to work, on your new job with City Hall, and you turned around. You saw me. I saw you, and it was like, you know how it echoes the city.
I mean, I love it.
It
See,
was
to
great.
me, that's more genuine.
Yes, it was.
And really, people in New York used to call me the Black Jackie O.
Really?
Because you never saw me.
Right.
I was behind the
Yeah.
scenes.
See,
I was
that's
the
the
booster.
trueness of a PR public relations person. You never see that individual who runs that firm or who gets the PR together for the person. You're the best PR people. The people are totally behind the scenes. They're not out front flitting around and
Yeah, typically not.
they are behind the scenes, and that's what you do well. You really do
Well,
well
thank
pushing
you
people
very
out there.
much.
You
Thank
do it
you.
really well.
But it's
But
good to have you out front today.
it really is good. See, but that's
It's good to see
it's
you.
time. It's time. It's overdue. Now, Miss Sheila Banks, tell us a little bit about some of these new projects you got coming up. You've written some scripts and you're getting them shopped around, and we're going to be seeing some stuff possibly on BET, Lifetime.
I'm a screenwriter now.
I
Screenplay
love
writer.
this.
In addition to my screenplay for Bittersweet, I've got 3 more projects in the pipeline.
Wow.
That I'm actively working on. One with an actress friend back on the East Coast, fingers crossed, and 2 other of my own screenplay projects. One of them does center in St. Louis, so you talked about that earlier.
Good. I
and
really do something so much about experiences here. I really do.
There's so
Other than a
much.
reality show, really.
Well, we've
Let's not
actually
go
got
there.
some good reality that we could do. You know, it doesn't have to be what we kind of saw.
Yeah,
We'll talk about that,
unfortunately,
but
no, we're not going to talk
there's
about
a lot of, there's so much positive. No, as you just alluded to,
Yes.
there's so much positive. There's so much fabulousness, and there's so much community.
Yes.
I was saying today, we talked about during the break, that this is divine intervention.
That's right. It's
Everybody being together, like, hey, girl, what's up? And, oh, really, you did that? And
Right.
This is wonderful.
It is
But
wonderful.
This is the challenge. How do we make that positive, engaging, and a winner? Because, you know, we sort of like the bad stuff.
Well,
That's
and
what gets the
sells,
numbers, and that's what keeps
unfortunately.
it going.
You know what I mean? What you were going to say, Sheila?
What I was going to say is that we should continue doing something like this.
I like that, like the view.
Like the view, exactly. There it is.
That would
What
be,
would
you
we
know,
call it?
Well, and that's the thing, and we've talked about this a lot. I know over at STL TV, we've talked about it a lot, and some other places have discussed pulling some radio stations have discussed how could we pull a group of really sharp divas together who have done some really good stuff here in the St. Louis area and have a talk show.
sense of the word.
Yes, most definitely. Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, wait,
No,
Thank you.
when I say diva, I'm thinking ladies who have just made their marks in this community and who are continuing to do some very positive things here. So, I mean, and we need something like that, almost like a talk show or reality type program. And I think something could be done here for St. Louis, you know.
You just put it out there.
I think, yeah, and it
We
can happen.
definitely have views.
Yes, we we would definitely have some views, and that's what I like about what's going on nowadays. We have some really sharp new ladies on the air. KMOV, Miss Sharon Reed, beautiful lady, got an opportunity to meet her as a sweetheart.
No.
Yeah,
You can tell
another
when you
reason,
stood the two
no
of them
relation,
together.
but I'm telling you, it's great. And Miss Brittany Noble, another one of our babies from the Black Journalists Workshops. We've got a lot of new people coming on the scene. What do you think about the new crop of folks in journalism?
These young people are so sharp, and I got to say, my daughter's one of them. She is not in St. Louis, but she's earning and will obtain her master's degree in film at Howard University in May, working on her thesis film. But she, like the other young'uns around here, they learned when she was majoring in broadcast journalism. They learned to do everything.
Did you do that at Howard as well?
She was at Hampton.
Oh,
the
yes.
Double H.
Girl, that's great. That's wonderful.
They learn everything, not just the writing and being a journalist, but they also learn to shoot, to edit, to direct, to do everything. So these young folks are so well equipped. I wish to God that I had that ability. Because now if you're going to be a TV reporter, you just can't tell a good story.
Right.
I mean, that's a great ability, but you've got to be able to put that bad boy together instantly.
Yes.
And, know all the technical stuff behind the scenes.
Yeah, like
as well.
carry your own backpack and everything.
Oh,
and
yeah,
put up the
your own
tripod and stand
camera,
in front.
your own,
We can do some things now. The one
We
thing I
have to
really
make
like what you were doing,
adjustments.
Sheila, you kept going on with the music and having these really great sets. Are you
Right.
going to do any more of those?
You know what? I
We
would
missed
love to
those.
incorporate something like that.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, there is going to take place. My birthday's coming up on the 16th of this month.
Yeah,
next
you used
Monday.
to do a birthday
Exactly.
kind of bash thing.
So not next Wednesday, the 18th. The Aquarians per se. There are a number of us that are going to get together. I haven't even announced it yet, but you'll hear it now. We will do something like I did, and this is my idea, and it will take place at the Marquee Restaurant
Okay, yeah, that's a nice place.
and bar,
That
which
is
is
a very
1901
nice place.
Locust, right down in the Loft District.
It's a
It
very
will be
nice
a
place.
smooth jazz,
It's huge. That's
happy
a huge
hour.
place,
It's a beautiful
but it's a great
venue.
place for what you want to do.
Yes, it is.
It's an awesome
So
place. Great
that-
parking.
Exactly.
That's what I really liked about
So
that place.
remember that, ladies.
You
Yeah.
can just put it out there, girls.
There you go. It's out there.
Your birthday party.
Right, the Black journalists did an event there. We did a
Yeah.
networking event there that was awesome, and the babies, I call them the babies because they are
Yes.
the babies.
They are
They have
the
taken over, and they did a great event there. And wow, they attracted so many young professionals, period,
Right.
to this function.
Right.
That got together and talked. I mean, I had never met these kids ever. I mean, chemists and folks from Boeing and
Exactly.
the babies, and they're coming in there and they were networking and putting it together. I said, wow, you all do. One young lady walked in there and she was just, I think she had just graduated from Howard Law
Right.
School. Said, I'm going to be a prosecuting attorney. I'm
Great,
like,
yeah.
girl, look at this.
Those
So,
same kind
yeah,
of folks are the folks that used to come to the Smooth Jazz Happy
they
Hour.
sure did.
Oh, we had the best of the best.
And still
the crop
do.
of the cream of the crop, the who's who of St. Louis at those happy hours that I did.
But you know,
It was
one of the
great.
things, and I'm going to interject because I don't want to
Sure.
run out of
No,
time
no,
without saying
exactly.
this. We can be ever so popular,
Yeah.
and we can be ever so successful monetarily, but if we don't also instill purpose for a cause,
Correct.
it's fleeting. You know, had it not been for the Urban League of Metropolitan St. Louis that blew up after Ferguson, with food, with clothing, with et cetera, I mean, let's do A Wonderful Life before and after. You know, had it not been for programs like I was dedicated in my name, the number of
Yes.
women and drug and alcohol abusers that would still be on the street.
What is your nonprofit? What is the name of your nonprofit?
It's the basic Black Alcohol Drug Service and
Right.
Information Center, dedicated a building and a center in my name, Charlotte VM Ottley
Yes.
Transitional Women's Center. And it's an anonymity program, but we're trying to put women back into the lives of good men, back
Yes.
into self-sufficiency, and back to being mothers. So somehow, we're in such a fast media age
Right.
that
Yes.
we can't miss being purposeful for a cause. We should all be members of something that's not necessarily social, although I think the Urban League is a good example of mixing them, but that
But
we
you've got a
know
lot of
at
them
the
out
end of
there.
the day that we contribute to something
It's
purposeful.
making a real difference.
Exactly.
That's
And even
gonna
this
make a real
weekend at University of Missouri St. Louis,
Yes.
MC Light, who people just think of a rap star,
Right.
has an organization called Educate Our Men.
And she's coming in to talk about that.
And she's going to talk about that, and we're
Well, we've got a
marrying
lot- We've
it.
got a lot of good organizations out there like the
So
Black
I want to
Journalists
have fun,
Organization.
and I
Yes.
want to be excited,
Right.
and I want people to be proud of who they are.
But do it with a purpose.
But
I'm
do
gonna
it with
have
a
to wrap this
purpose.
up. Wow, I hate this.
We have
gotta-
so much to talk about.
We have a lot to talk about. I want to thank you ladies so much for coming on City Corner and talking with us. And I want to thank you, television audience, for tuning in to City Corner. I'm Robin Boyce.